Welcome back to ESPR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted as always to be joined by Elliot Grigg. We are here to discuss what is next for Joseph Parker after his victory against Zhang on the knockout chaos card in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. Elliot, we've done the review show. Parker, I think he's arguably become the first person to legitimately beat Zhang. Zhang had that controversial loss to Filip Hrgović. I'm just going to throw a handful of names at you and ask for your opinion on how those fights would go down. We touched on this in the review show. Parker touched on a potential rematch against Zhang in his post-fight interview. I know you mentioned you think Parker would win a rematch. Do you stand by that? And how confident are you?
Tough because Jiang has obviously got power, had Parker down twice, so it's not beyond the realms of possibility that he could stop Joe Parker, catches him. Um, I just feel going into this fight it was a real 50-50, and I feel like pulling it out now somewhere sort of 60-40, 65-35 towards Parker. But he knows what he's got to do. He knows, like you said as well, like he knows that Zhang will drop off, especially in speed and activity. And longer the fight goes on. Not gas in the way that he's going to literally just like fall over, but gas in the way that his activity is going to go down. And he caught him a lot tonight as well, didn't he? Didn't bruise him, but he caught him a lot. So he knows he's obviously got that kind of speed and fitness sort of conditioning differential. So I think, yeah, 65-35. I'm still confident he'd win that rematch, frankly. But again, you got to hold your hands up to Joe Parker because the CV that he's put together relatively recently. Like you look obviously at Wilder, you look at Zhang. Yeah, he's been in with everyone, man. Like since that sort of Joe Joyce loss, he's actually had one of the best CVs in the heavyweight division in a way. The people he's actually been in with and tested himself against. So all credit to him.
Yeah, and look, to be fair, when he lost that fight to Joe Joyce, if you had said a year and a half later he's going to put that run together, no one would have believed you. So it is very impressive and fair play to him. He's in a fantastic position now. Um, it is interesting to see what the next 12 months looks like for Joseph Parker because outside of Anthony Joshua, he's probably best placed to fight for a world title in the next 12 months. However, like one issue is he's like best mates with Tyson Fury, who could be undisputed champion come May the 18th. So it is a funny one. You said you think you'd beat Zhang in the rematch if that fight happens. I agree with you. So it is interesting. How would we've seen him fight Anthony Joshua in the past? It was in Cardiff, wasn't it? That fight a few years ago. Fairly one-sided victory for Joshua. Not the greatest fight either. How would that rematch go for you, Elliot?
The thing is, you got to look at the time. AJ's obviously coming in. He wants obviously that WBO belt didn't he, that Parker had at that time. So you kind of fought more cautiously. But I think this version of AJ, frankly, he doesn't want to get anything with this version of AJ. This version of AJ seems to have that spite back. I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong, Hellenius and Ngannou aren't necessarily upper echelon boxers, but he looks different now. AJ does look like he's found something again psychologically. So I actually think Parker doesn't have necessarily the power to stop. We've seen AJ be rocked before. We've seen that he can be hurt, but Parker doesn't have that power, in my opinion, to do that to him. So I think AJ would actually run through him, frankly. I think he'd get hold of him and beat him second half of the fight, but I think he'd stop him convincingly. I'm not gonna lie. I think he'd beat him, yeah. Hurt him.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll keep it rolling because I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying putting you under pressure at 1 a.m. in the morning. I've got two more names for you, Elliot. Martin Bakole is ranked highly is ranked highly with the WBA. I know Martin Bakole is someone you've spoken highly of in the past.
Mm.
Bakole just has that one loss on his record to Michael Hunter, which was a few years back. Um, Martin Bakole, not the most active of fighters. A bit hot and cold, bit kind of had a bit of a hot and cold career, but at times has looked very impressive. Martin Bakole and Joseph Parker in the second half of 2024. Where's your head at?
That's actually a really tough fight because Bakole we've seen come in not necessarily well conditioned in certain fights,
Yeah.
but is 30 years old apparently, so younger than Joe Parker, but carries power as well. So for me, it's almost like Parker would have to do almost like what he's done with Shang and with Wilder. I think it'd be that sort of blueprint. He'd have to sort of outcondition Bakole and try and beat him on points. The Hunter's obviously not a million miles actually away in profile from someone like Joseph Parker either. So I actually think that's a very, very tough fight to call. Um, you know what, man? I can't. The thing is, I do like Martin Bakole. Now, I would kind of favour Martin Bakole, but I can't sit here and say that I'm going to pick him over Joe Parker when you look at the guys they've fought, especially recently. So I probably have to edge Parker, even though I wouldn't be surprised at all if Bakole wins. Like, obviously, that victory over Yoka was fantastic. Takam, Kuzmin, those sort of names he's got on his record, but you know, Parker's obviously now got Wilder and Zhang on there. So I think if he can do what he did against them to someone like Bakole, he would win on points. But equally, if Bakole got hold of him, he could potentially stop him. But I'd have to lean towards Parker, frankly.
Interesting, interesting. We'll see. I'd love to see that fight. I've got a final name for you, Elliot, before I do let you go. Someone who had a good victory against an undefeated fighter last time out. Someone who doesn't currently have a fight scheduled is Daniel Dubois. Dubois again, who couple of losses on his I a couple of losses on his record. I'm still a big fan of Daniel Dubois, I'll be honest. I just think he has been managed poorly in his career, in my opinion, and I do think he could still possibly win a world title in the future. Daniel Dubois against Joseph Parker. Um, but do you have a prediction for that one?
You know what? Actually, I agree this would be a great fight, and I'm actually going to pick Daniel Dubois here. Now, he's not necessarily got the CV that Parker has,
Yeah,
but again, Parker hasn't got the power. I don't think to actually land and actually hurt someone like Daniel Dubois either. He's not going to like beat him like Joe Joyce beat him. So I actually feel that, and Dubois has also got quick hands and obviously power. So I can actually see him actually overwhelming Joe Parker, frankly. So I'd actually pick Daniel Dubois to win that fight. Just on like, styles make fights, and I think that'd be a good fight for Daniel Dubois.
yeah, yeah. No, we'll see. Look, we could talk about other names in the heavyweight division as well, but whether we see any of these fights is a different matter. Congratulations once again to Joseph Parker on a fantastic victory, and we
Mm.
will see what is next for the New Zealander. Elliot, thank you very much for your time, and I will speak to you again soon.
Thank you very much for meeting us always, guys. Thank you very much for watching.